All right, we are now joined by Donald Faison and Zach Braff, and we were just singing one of your songs from the musical episode Guy Love. And now
Can't explain our Guy Love.
Let's face the facts about me and you.
You want to sing it on camera?
I mean, we're here. Hey, the show's finally out.
Yeah.
It actually happened. Has it been like basically 20 years of people saying to you, when is Scrubs going to come back?
Yes. Basically, since we stopped, there was maybe like a breath, and then it was, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? And now it finally happened.
Now that the episodes are out, is that feeling relief? What would you call it?
There's still a crap ton of anxiety that's following it. You know, you want it to be successful. You want the fans to like it, and and now that it's out and we're getting feedback from the fans, there is a little bit of relief, but we still got 7 more shows.
7 more. Yeah, I think we both were so happy that the fans like it. We made this for the fans, and we just didn't know. The fan base of Scrubs, like yourself, because you told us you're a big fan.
Yes, I could not tell you that.
They are very passionate about the show, and it was very important to them, and so we wanted to get it right. So yeah, when the audience reacted like they did, I think it was a huge relief to us both.
Mm-hmm.
When the call started to be made that this could actually come back, was it an immediate no-brainer for you guys? You had to think about it.
It was a no-brainer for me. I mean, we had been doing our podcast for a while, Fake Doctors, Real Friends, for a bit. And while we were doing that, in my mind, I was like, it would be great to start to do this all over again. I even said to Zach at one point, we should just watch the show again. He was like, I'm not watching it again.
Well, for the podcast, we watched 180 some odd episodes and then talked about them. And Donald was like, should we do it again? I was like, no, we've seen the show. But we didn't know at the time we were doing research. It was really informative. And we were really candid on the podcast. We would say, like, I don't like this one, and here's why. And I think it's to this, it's to that, or my performance sucks. And we didn't have that in mind that we were kind of doing research for what the new incarnation would be. But it really, for me, was informative for the things I wanted the show to be and things I didn't want the show to be.
Well, I'm a loyal listener of the podcast, Fake Doctors, Real Friends. And one thing you guys said is that you wanted to still be silly, but grounded as well. There weren't like the ostriches, or there's an episode of Scrubs where you travel by backpack.
No, he stuffs me into a normal-sized JanSport backpack, and it's not a fantasy. And
yeah, it never cuts back.
Yeah, so it got quite broad. I mean, the episode with the ostriches, the ostrich steals Donald's Kango hat and puts it on, and then locks us in a backyard.
Jason Bateman's backyard.
Jason Bateman's guest star. But one of the mandates in my mind was that we reground the show where it started in reality. You can still have the crazy, fantasies for the surreal elements. And obviously, we're both silly guys, just like our characters. You can still have that, but we base it back in reality. That was something that was important to me.
And in season 8, your character, Dr. Turk, or Dr. Turkleton, as Kelso calls him, he
needs to learn that name.
You think my name is Turkleton?
And this is Turkleton.
Oh, man. I hope Ken Jenkins shows up and plays Dr. Kelso.
We got to figure it out.
He's already chief of surgery at the end of that episode.
Yes.
Or that season. So by now, he's still teaching, but the character has 4 children now. He's in his 50s now. Did the lessons change of what he wanted to teach his interns?
I think the lessons are still the same. I just don't think he wants to teach them anymore, is what it is. I think he's at the point now where he's burnt out.
When we find him.
When we find him, at least. When we find him in the show, he's burnt out. This is, it's been 20-something, 15-something years, and it's the same stuff. The only thing that's changed is he has kids now, and he's over it, And teaching kids to do what he does, he just sees the pattern. It'll form again. They'll do the same thing I'm doing right now. They'll get there and then they'll be over it.
He's lost his joy. And I think some of the joy came from the camaraderie he had with his best friend. Like he says in the pilot, at least when you were here, we could go up on the roof at the end of our shift and have a beer and sort of laugh off the day. He doesn't have that anymore. And part of the pilot and part of the show is the camaraderie of them coming back together and finding joy again in being a teacher. It's about a teaching hospital.
And another thing that, this is kind of a spoiler, but there's headlines everywhere, happens in the first 5 minutes, we learned that Dr. Dorian and Sarah Chalk's Dr. Elliott Reed are divorced now, which a lot of people were a little upset about it. I even saw Bill Lawrence, your creator, like discussing it with fans on Twitter, be like, guys, we thought a lot about this. For you, why did that feel natural for the next step?
I just think it's funny that Bill will engage with someone on Twitter who has like one follower. And I'm like, Bill, you don't have to go down this road.
He has all these Emmys now, 20 years later.
I know. He's just occasionally, the man still hops on Twitter and debates with fans. You know, I think if you're going to do a show about 17 years later, you could show both sides of how relationships go. He and Turk and Carla have the most loving, amazing relationship ever. They couldn't be more in love. And JD and Elliot were always in a contentious sort of relationship. So, a lot of couples end up getting divorced. I also think just writing-wise, it's great to write to drama and comedy of a couple who are divorced trying to work together in the same workplace. That gives us so much to play with, as opposed to a couple that's just getting along great. There's not a lot of tension. You think about it like pulling a rubber band. That's where the comedy and the drama come from pulling that tension. And if they're just getting along great, there's not a lot to write to.
It made sense. And also, growing up, I always related more to JD, but now that I'm in my 30s, I relate more to Turk. And all of the marriage jokes with Carla, played by Judy Reyes, is like, for example, she says, Turk, why is there pancakes in the silverware drawer?
Why is there silverware in the pancake?
Why is silverware in the pancake drawer? And you go, what's up? Do you find your perspective on different jokes changing as you get older?
As I get older, yeah, I'm definitely a dad joke guy now. You know what I mean? Like, my kids are my test audience, and I fail miserably now. So,
His kids are so unimpressed by him.
By all of it,
by all
actually.
of it. They're just like, rolling their eyes, Dad.
Yeah, but my maturity has made my joke telling. It's turned my joke telling into. It's not as good as it used to be. When I could curse and tell jokes, that was fun. It's like Eddie Murphy going to Bill Cosby. That's a bad example, isn't it?
Well, he was on Delirious, where he was as dirty as you could possibly be, and then he was doing Daddy Day Camp and movies like that.
Right. Like that,
Yeah.
yes.
Do you ever stop your kids and say, just so you guys know, like millions of people find me hilarious, just so we're clear?
They know that. They're well aware. They're well aware that Uncle Zach and I have a fan following that thinks we're very funny. They just don't think we are.
Is it true? I'm gonna do my fan questions now. You have a very famous dance that became a Fortnite thing and a meme. It's like,
Yeah.
I just did it.
Yeah.
Is it true that you kind of just improvised that when you showed up to set that day?
I showed up to set from the club, pretty much. It was from club to the set, and I had no idea what we were filming that day. And I walked into the room that is the break room, or the penthouse. And I walk in, and it's packed with the crew. I'm like, wow, what's going on? What are we filming today? And Zach goes, you have a dance today. You're dancing today. And I was like, oh, okay. And Bill's like, you ready? And I'm like, well, what am I dancing to? And I'm like, Poison.
Poison by Belle Biv DeVoe.
Belle Biv DeVoe. And I was at the club that night, and so I was dancing to Poison that night, so I knew exactly what I needed to do for the show.
That's incredible.
Well, you just riffed that, and it became, something that Scrubs fans love so much.
Yeah, and
not only Scrubs fans, but little kids. Let me tell you the hate mail I got when everybody figured out that it was me doing the dance in Fortnite, and there was that little talk of, well, should we take legal action? I got more hate mail from kids, 12-year-old kids, from a dance that I created. It's not your dance anymore. It belongs to Fortnite. If you take this away from us, man, I'm going to cancel you.
I made that up on the spot from the club.
And I
That was
did.
my club dance.
I did, but the kids have taken it, and it's now what they do after they shoot somebody in Fortnite.
In the video game, they do a little
video
dance.
game, yeah.
How quickly did you guys become best friends? When you were,
It's pretty quick.
because you're both from the Northeast.
Yeah,
Is that
right
the
away. I
starting
mean,
point?
we're from the North. Well, I'm from Jersey. He's from Manhattan. But we just had the same sense of humor. We met at the first table read of Scrubs. He had already done stuff, so I knew who he was. He had been on, a bunch of things, and we just very quickly had the same sense of humor. And we would start going out together and hanging out together, and then Bill Lawrence, the show's creator, would ask us what we did that weekend, or we would tell him funny anecdotes, and little by little, our adventures would work their way into the script. And the line between JD and Turk became to blur. It really became a version of our lives.
Well, I can never figure out which parts of the show came from things that actually happened. Because I know some like plots came from adventures you guys had on the weekends.
Yeah.
I always wanted to know if when Turk does a Neil Diamond impression, if that came from real life.
Yeah, for some reason, I was singing the Transformers as Neil Diamond. The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Yeah. That's when we learned that Donald did a good Neil Diamond impression. But for some reason, he tested it out on the Transformers
theme song.
That really timestamps, lets you know exactly when this happened. 'Cause that was like around 07.
And then, but from that, it somehow made it into the show. This was a bit that we would do off camera.
Just doing Neil Diamond?
Yeah, lots of stuff just being silly and stupid and improvising stuff would make it on the show. And we, at the time, we would be like, they're never going to use this. But then it would be on the show.
On the ships and on the planes. That's what you did. You're like, they're coming to America.
Is that what
coming to
they're
America.
coming to America.
We're coming to America.
Today.
Today. Everywhere around the world.
Turn on your hot light.
Let it shine.
Let it shine wherever you go.
You also do a pretty good Aaron Neville, don't you?
No, you do a good Aaron.
You do that in the show. You're in the elevator.
But I know I love you.
Okay. I guess I'll bring the interview back.
Yes, grounded.
Just grounded, serious questions. How easy or hard was it for you guys to get back into character? Did you have to watch the episodes like, okay, that's how I did it? Or like you said, it kind of blended into yourselves by that point?
You know, like I said, we wanted to reground the show because we wanted to not be so broad and silly and still be 50, we could be our 50-year-old selves who are silly in real life, but we didn't want to be clowns and we didn't want to be cartoonish. So it was in making the pilot, I directed the pilot, and in doing so, I felt like a lot of pressure to make sure that we found just the right tone. Something that the fans would like, something that we would like, something that would lend itself to the comedy and drama of Scrubs, but that was more in line with where we started in season 1 of the original pilot and not where we got to with some of the more broad, silly acting.
And as far as acting goes, I think all of us, when he said we're going to ground it, it's just about playing your character more realistic. And that's what we started out as. And we were definitely more grounded season 1, 2, and 3. And then we kind of went off the rails a little bit. So when he said, let's take it back to season 1, it was very refreshing.
But you said grounding. One way you did is that you had real trauma nurses.
Yeah,
This season,
actually,
which
in that opening fantasy that opens the pilot for people who've seen it or people who are going to see it, I think almost everyone around that bed in that pit-like sequence are real ER nurses.
And you guys have, besides that, like, medical professionals. I remember the American Medical Association said you guys were the most accurate medical show.
It was very important to Bill Lawrence when he first created the show in 2000 that the show be very real medically. You know, MASH was a big inspiration for him. And he wanted, even though we were going to do comedy and we were going to do these fantasies, he said when it comes to the medicine is all real. And the AMA came out and said that our medicine was the most real, and that also the hijinks and the humor, that the job is so taxing that what a lot of shows didn't get right, according to the doctors and nurses we've talked to over decades now, is that there's so much camaraderie and humor to just give yourself a break from the tension and the stress of the job.
Guys, do you think there will be a season 2 of Scrubs Revival?
You know,
we hope so.
I hope
so. We would love to do it, and we just aired, and the response has been absolutely outstanding, and we're really thrilled, and we've got our fingers crossed.
It was so. I was texting my best friends, like my cousin Jason, and we grew up watching Scrubs in middle school, quoting it all the time to each other. And I was like, "It's good. Like it came back, and they actually did it." Because you don't know when you bring a show back if you're going to be able to
have no
capture the
idea, and
magic.
it's very hard. And the fan response has been so supportive.
Guys, it's been an absolute dream to talk to you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.